Speaking of big shout-outs and big congratulations, the Chicago Sky, the WNBA team based in Chicago, won their first ever WNBA title, knocking off the Phoenix Mercury in 4 games, 3-1. And really, this was a landslide victory. This was a decisive victory that featured a team that just flatly was way better than the Phoenix Mercury were, with the exception of than the Phoenix Mercury was, I should say, with the exception of one game 2 loss in which the Chicago Sky lost to the Phoenix Mercury on the road by 5 in overtime. Their 3 wins, they won by an average margin of 18.5 points. So this is not a fluke. The Chicago Sky were clearly the better team in this entire series. And it was impressive that in game 4, Phoenix led by 9 entering the fourth quarter. They led by 5 with about 5.5 minutes to play. And yet they still managed to pull it out and just outwill the Phoenix Mercury. And in particular, I'm extremely happy for Candace Parker, now a 2-time WNBA champion. The fact that she's from Chicago, she returned to her hometown, and to deliver a title to that city, the first ever WNBA title in franchise history, is a heartwarming story. It's a really touching story, and Candace Parker has a spot in my heart because she's we as Angelinos, we kind of view Candace Parker as a staple in LA sports when it comes to WNBA. She started her career and really just played the majority of her career with the Sparks. She was drafted by the Sparks in 2008, won Rookie of the Year in 2008 with the Sparks. She won 2 WMVPs, regular season MVPs with the Sparks, delivered a title for the Sparks in 2016, was the Finals MVP. So we kind of view her as one of our own, and I'm happy for her to see her be able to win another title. She just embodies winning. She's the ultimate winner. She's one of the greatest WNBA players of all time. This is someone who won 2 NCAA titles at Tennessee, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. And when I think about the greatest, and then you combine that with who she was facing, and who this entire Chicago Sky, for that matter, were facing, going up against the legend in Diana Taurasi, who's arguably the greatest of all time, a 3-time WNBA champion, and Brittany Griner, who had a fantastic finals and, in my opinion, is probably going to be a future Hall of Famer. She's had a tremendous career. But when I think about Candace Parker and how she stacks up, I think she was already going to go down as one of the greatest WNBA players of all time. But when I look at the list, I think she was already, in my mind, a top 5 player. I think you can make an argument now she's in the top 3, along with Diana Taurasi and Lisa Leslie and Tamika Catchings. Then you're looking at Candace Parker, Sue Bird, Maya Moore. I don't think played long enough, but I think Maya Moore's up there as well. So that's in very exclusive company. For Cheryl Swoops, obviously, is in there as well. But I think Candace Parker is perhaps a top 3 player of all time. At the very least, I think a top 5. But you can make an argument for top 3. And again, for her to be from Chicago and to still deliver this title is impressive, is extremely impressive. And what's also impressive is the fact that in 2014, this is the same Chicago Sky team that got annihilated by the Phoenix Mercury. In fact, Courtney Vandersloot and Allie Quigley, who were 2 important pieces for this Sky team in 2021. They were part of the Sky team in 2014 that lost to the Mercury, to the Phoenix Mercury. So you know that there was some elevated motivation for that matchup in particular, and that was still fresh in their minds. It was their first taste of the WNBA finals, of really kind of the postseason, but for them to kind of bounce back the way that they did, and Kalia Copper, for her to win finals MVP as well. Extremely impressive, happy for her. But sticking with Vandersloot, the interesting thing, she's been just fantastic for the Sky this entire postseason, especially as a facilitator. She's just been breaking records as a facilitator. In fact, she obviously recorded her second triple-double, or the second triple-double in WNBA postseason history in the semifinals. She recorded 102 assists, which is a record throughout this entire postseason. So she was fantastic for the Sky. And just this entire team, I thought, just played extremely well. They just dominated from start to finish. Not to mention, they were a 6 seed. This wasn't even a top-seeded team. This was a 6 seed that went 16-16 in the regular season. And since the team's inception in 2006, in which in that inaugural season they went 5-29, now they bounce back after missing the playoffs in the first 7 years of the team's inception. They're finally able to fast forward several years later and win a WNBA title. Big congratulations to the entire team and to that organization. A very, very well-deserved and impressive victory. So shout out to them.